Welcome to the Solar Wilson Conversation. This is a forum where we share our views through the lens of a Nigerian, lesbian, legally married couple. I am Margaret Solar Wilson.
And I am Moji Solar Wilson.
Moji and I believe in and are committed to creating space for real, authentic, transparent, and inclusive conversation. We talk with each other and we talk with others. So sit back because it's time for real talk. Moji, it's good to be back. We've been away from this podcast series for quite a while, and as we say, life has been lifing, right? Yeah. But in a good way.
Yes, exciting things are happening. We've been very busy, work, life, and like you always say, life will always life. So here we are. It's good to be back.
And this time we thought we'd have a conversation about what's been going on, because it really has been a busy time. In addition to everything else that we do, we're in the third year. We've just completed the third round of applications and interviews for the Solar Wilson Guardian Angel Scholarship Program. This is our third year in, and we thought it would be great to give our audience an insight to not just the program, but to some of the lessons we've learned, some of the insights we've gained, and some of the fun that we've had while doing this as well. So why don't I ask you to talk to us about the Solar Wilson Guardian Angel Scholarship Program and how that even came to be.
So the Solar Wilson Guardian Angel Scholarship Program, we made official in 2021, I believe. But for some odd reason, we had been sponsoring students in Nigeria for quite a while, especially the LGBTQ young Nigerians. And we decided to make it official and, create a real program out of it. So about in 2021, we put together a group of young people, had conversations and all that. And we were able to identify that there's a huge problem of Nigerian students that would love to go to school or are struggling with the tuition and things like that. But we realized that it's not just the tuition, it's also helping to switch the mindset of the typical Nigerian to focus on money. Not to focus on money, but to focus on values, integrity, empathy, compassion. So, we came together and built out a program. And as a matter of fact, we continue every year to, innovate or create something different, a different program. It's been very exciting and challenging at the same time because of the distance and also the mindset of the people that we're trying to help.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that, we always knew that there were challenges with education, with accessing and obtaining education and advancing in Nigeria. So I think we always knew that. And to your point, I'm sure many people help here and there. But then I think the question for us was also initially, what is all that adding up to? Like, could we do this in a different way and get broader impact? And is it just about education, or is there also something about building people out as leaders? Mm-hmm. And can people truly become what they cannot see without mentorship, right? So those were all the questions that ran through our mind. And then the question was, we can't boil the ocean. So where do we actually lean in to help? And I think that's where the conversations that we had as we were thinking through this with, some young people, it became evident that I think a critical point was tertiary education,
Yes.
right? And I think that was what directed our focus on that. And I must say, I think our ability to get like minds in when we thought about the board and who do we bring in, we've been a small group of people, thanks to them also, that have leaned in to help us bring this self-funded dream to fruition.
You know, one of the questions that people ask a lot, Margaret, is why will two lesbians go into Nigeria and help all Nigerians? As in, we were very intentional about having people from different tribes, different genders, creating a very inclusive space, right? So I'm going to throw the question at you. Why did you think Nigeria was the place to do this?
Because I was born there is a very good start.
Yeah.
Because, my parents were born there. That's where I have my roots. And that in itself does not prevent us from helping in any other way. We donate our time in the United States as well. We donate our time and funds, right, in the United States, various organizations. But this was an area where I had experienced a need myself, and where the need still persisted.
Yes.
Because going through all the way through medical school for me, with my mother bearing the brunt of that, was not an easy situation. And I could see myself in many of these younger people who were simply just trying to make a way, supported by their parents, and, everybody was just struggling. Sexuality has nothing to do with
Exactly.
humanity, quite frankly. I mean, and neither is my complete identity, nor yours, about sexuality. And that I believe that when we talk about diversity, every person is a unique person in their own right. I talk about diversity as being, you've got to drill down to the person beyond these basic categories like race and gender and sexuality. They're all important. But at the end of the day,
We're all people.
we're all people, we're all different, we all have our challenges, we all have our unconscious bias, we've all experienced discrimination because of one aspect of our personality, of our makeup, that somebody else does not agree with.
Exactly.
And so to truly be inclusive through all that. And so for me, it was actually a non-question.
Very true. I mean, the way you and I see DEI is so different from a lot of people's, and that's probably because we sit at the intersection of many minority groups. Then it gets to a point where one just basically has to focus on humanity first, right? And creating spaces where everybody gets a seat at the table, and then looking at the equitable services that we can give, because we can give everybody a bicycle, but then I'm only 5, whatever, and the person that's 6'7" is going to need a different size bicycle. Then we can get to the small differences that we have and try to create equity that way. But you start to talk about the fact that we cannot boil an ocean, one of my favorite quotes of yours, but we can boil an ocean one cup at a time, which is what you told me when we first met. And I was so busy running around trying to save the whole world. And you said to me, no, stop for a minute. You cannot boil the ocean, but you can boil the ocean one cup at a time, which is basically what we're doing. And so far, we've had a few students graduate. We've had a few of them paired up with mentors. But I want to talk about the experience. Like, what changes have you noticed in the students since they've come along? And also, I wanted to talk about the impact on society from the small, what we thought was a small thing, right? The community service and things like that. What have you seen change in the students? Have you seen a change in their mindsets?
So I think, first of all, let's talk about scope, right? To date, roughly in terms of numbers, over the past 3 years, about 100 students have benefited from this. And this third year, in the process of taking probably 50 more, right? Those are some of the numbers. It was interesting when we did the first set of interviews, first ever. What came across to me very clearly was, many students were really struggling to get through university or the polytechnic or the nursing school, right? And many of them had gotten to a point where hope was vanishing very quickly. Many students had gotten to the point where I was worried that they were beginning to lose belief in themselves. They had almost capped their potential on their own. And I can understand how that would happen. And of course, it was the first year we were doing the program, so they weren't really sure what they were even signing up for. Tuition was paid, okay. So for them, that was the big barrier. Now my tuition is paid, I can go to school. What I have seen as we have progressed in this journey, I have seen and felt the light come on. Where they now, because now they particularly with the mentorship program, they see what you've got to, a colleague of mine says, you cannot become what you do not see. Right. Now, I get the sense from many of them, they just think it's logical that they will excel, right? So I see them really confident in themselves that they are bastions of excellence.
Yes.
And I see excellence redefined. It's no longer how rich I can get, but it's how I can fully self-actualize. So that for me has been a very impressive part. I've also seen students begin to think more deeply about complex societal problems.
Yes.
In a different way and more positioned around how do I view this from multiple unbiased perspectives, right? And how do I begin to think of myself as truly part of the problem? A big piece I've seen, it's a joy to watch in a country that is divided by tribe, divided by religion, for a group of students from across the country, different states, different tribes, different religions, actually come together as a common group and truly bond. So, the changes have truly, truly, truly been impressive. I've seen a different approach to community service.
Yes.
And understanding that it's the little stuff I can do for my community. On our website, we have a picture of the group who went out to clean out water tanks.
Yes.
They did a phenomenal job and had a blast while they were doing it. So credit to the program, yeah. But I think it's also credit to the students.
Absolutely.
Who come together as a group to hold each other up. When we had this most recent set of interviews, and we did it on Clubhouse, and down on the floor, not on the stage, were students from the program, alumni from the program, all coming together to lend their collective support. Yeah, it's been an honor to be part of this process.
You talked about the community service, and one of the most important pieces of this puzzle called Solo Wilson Guardian Angel Scholarship Program is the paying it forward piece, because a lot of times, a lot of Nigerians believe that once you have money, you take care of your own family. And one of the things that we've been able to instill in them through our walk, right, of two random strangers just waking up and saying, hey, let's pick up about 100 Nigerian students and support them, not just financially, but also by giving them leadership training and skills, SMART goals, resume writing, and how emotional intelligence and all that, just giving back to the community in general, not just your family, because Most Nigerians take care of their own families. Anyways, that's expected of them. But the community service this year was so very important because of the fact that my favorite story in this whole piece is that young lady who's in school studying, I don't even remember what, in a little village. And she went to the chief of the town and asked the chief of this town that probably had maybe, of this village that had maybe 20 people in the whole village, and asked the chief to speak to the elders and let them know that their cohort would like to come in and clean the houses of these elderly people, right? That was so touching to me. And then you have students that come together and help each other with their papers and their research. And, it's building a community in a country of 220 million plus people. And the goal here is that, we hope that they would go out into the world and touch the lives of others and hopefully share their principles of integrity, compassion, empathy, and all that. It's been really exciting. I mean, it's been a very exciting journey. It's been very turbulent as well, but it's been very exciting.
It certainly has been. And wow, I have, and I'm sure you have, learnt a lot from the students, the beneficiaries of the program. The resilience and the strength that some of these students have in spite of the circumstances they find themselves in. I mean, there are stories. I went to medical school. Medical school is hard enough. There is a young beneficiary in the program who was walking 1.5 hours to medical school.
Yeah, and reading from her phone.
And going to medical school by downloading the PDFs of the medical textbooks onto her phone.
Yeah.
When I heard that story, it literally blew me away. And she's done that. She's been successful, I think, because she's in 200 level now and still going.
With very high GPA. We're not talking about 3 points. I mean, these kids are taking 10, 11 classes a semester.
Yeah. And then the other stories that stand out, the young man recently who has been trying to show up for an interview but cannot afford a phone because it's audio.
Yeah.
And so is borrowing phones.
Yeah.
And just before he was to come up, the person who lent him the phone wanted it back. Mm-hmm. I mean, and these are stories not that we read about. These are stories told by the people who experience them, people who are in college, who are also hawking on the roadside.
Yes.
People who are in college who, after school, they're doing multiple...
farming and all kinds of stuff, yeah.
These students are incredible.
And, one of my favorite stories was from the first year. The young Hausa man who no one's ever been to university in his whole village, who is the first person to go to college because it's a farming culture, right? And we asked him that day, why did you choose engineering? The day of his interview. So simple. He said, I am choosing engineering so that I can build tools for my village to be able to use for farming to relieve the stress. And I just started crying because I live in America where people are upset when the children don't get an iPhone. And here we have somebody who's really dedicated. And the young man just recently graduated as well, looking to do his master's. A lot of stories that makes me truly wake up every day and appreciate my life and understand that we all have a purpose. And that purpose might not be huge and grand. It might just be to touch one person. So out of the 100 students that we have so far that have gone through the program, and now we're picking up we still have about 38, so we'll have about 85 in the program this year. Even if it's just 3 of them that create something to change the world or touch the world, I think we've done something really fantastic here.
I think for all of them, some will touch the world.
Yeah.
Others will touch their world.
Yes.
So regardless, this is certainly an impact. And it's also been interesting because sometimes in a world that is not inclusive, sometimes we have this idea that it's only certain groups of people who fight for certain causes.
Yes.
The number of male students who have come up and spoken to the fact that they want to advance in education so they can help their younger sisters
Yes.
go to school because they come from communities where education of the woman is not encouraged.
Yes.
You know, you can't but look at a man like that and feel some respect.
Most definitely.
So it's really been exciting, and we've had some fun times as well. What is your most fun moment as part of this journey?
My most fun moment was the debate, right? And, you know, we always come up with these fun things for them to do as well, with a cash prize or something. And the debate period was hysterical for me. I thought it was beautiful to watch them all come together, you know, in different cohorts and battle each other with words. And we're dealing with a generation with words and facts. Because you can't tell a story, you can't, you know, so give a submission without backing up with data. So it was a lot of fun to watch them, you know, this young internet generation articulate their messages, you know, politely with structure as opposed to the keyboard warrior thing. I mean, there's been a lot of stories that we could tell, a lot of laughter, a lot of tears, you know, and one of the most beautiful pieces about what we do is that we have a support system for them where they have peer mediation, where people come in and talk about on a particular day on Clubhouse, they come in and talk about the challenges that they have, and students volunteer to help them. You know, they take care of each other. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about the program for me.
Yeah, for me, there too, and I don't know if they brought me joy. The first was when we began to think about who would support us in this venture. And we reached out to two individuals, right, who have crazily busy lives. And without hesitation, they're like, yeah, we believe in this cause.
Yeah.
And they've given up a time to join us in those are the, you know, I'm talking about the panel of judges,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
The panel of judges, because the interviews take several weeks, right?
Yes.
And every Saturday, these two individuals have given up their time to join us in this venture without even giving it a thought. The minute the ask was out, here's what we're doing. We need you to support us as one of the panel. It was like a straight yes. And just sitting back and thinking, wow, again, in a country where people often think that most people are self-serving, we're all Nigerians, the panel of judges. You see two examples of people who truly believe in the cause.
Yeah.
The second piece that always stands out to me is that, you know, when you begin to see growth,
Yes.
I really got a lot of joy from that experience. Remember, I talked about the community service session?
Yes.
Where one group sent us in the pictures of them having so much fun.
Yes.
And it was so impressive, we thought they deserve a prize. And so, because we actually were under the assumption they were the only ones who had done it.
Yeah.
And remember when we announced that they would be getting a prize? And then to have the students, like, collectively now reach out to the program director with a petition.
Yes.
Like, we all did it. They sent in pictures. We didn't realize pictures were part of this, but we did it too. We deserve a prize.
Exactly.
We're going to send you pictures, and you're going to take it to the Solar Wilsons, and you're going to make an appeal for this.
That's what it's all about,
was-
isn't it?
it's
That's
so
a
much
leadership
joy.
skills. That's how you change policies. That's how you create really a better world, by standing up and speaking up with respect, with data and facts. Simple.
Yeah.
I was so impressed.
So it's been a lot of fun, and I think it's really been a great experience listening to the students express their opinions. It's been a great experience listening to people who have been watching the program from the sidelines, who just step in to give support.
Yeah.
our most recent professional discussion
Yes.
that we had, the virtual professional discussion with the students, where there has been a young woman who's not part of the program,
Yes.
but she's
been following us for years.
wanders in, right? And is just there. And then she stepped up this time, young Nigerian woman.
Yes.
As
Wait. Young Nigerian woman who did her master's in treasury.
Bachelor's in mathematics and one master's in mathematics, and now is a second master's in actuarial science.
I was like, whoa.
And she just leans in to provide her support, her guidance. She's much closer to them in age. So now they're seeing even more that they can become.
So
And it just becomes a groundswell, like a movement. It's been a great experience.
I think the fact that they have the opportunity to see another student that's doing exactly what we've been telling them. If you're able to do this, just focus on being the best version of yourself, do the work now, and doors will open, and they're able to see somebody in their age bracket that's doing that and is able to achieve what this young lady has achieved. And the fact that the young lady had the courage to speak up on stage, but she wasn't speaking up for herself. She was giving guidance to somebody else that's about to walk the path that she has walked, right? It's been, for me, this program has been very fulfilling in many ways than one. You know, I have watched a lot of them come in with this hit and run mindset, you know, get rich quick mindset to, oh, I'm going to be building something. I understand I have to sacrifice for what I want in life. And they're doing the work, they're applying themselves. And not only are they applying themselves, they're helping others to become the best version of themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as we wrap up, I intentionally left the formal description of the program to the end. The Solar Wilson Guardian Angel Scholarship Program is in its third year. It was a program set up by myself, Margaret Solar Wilson, and my wife, Moji Solar Wilson, that specifically caters to young Nigerian students who are financially disadvantaged and high performing, who are interested in pursuing tertiary education in Nigeria. So we're in the third year of this right now. The website is solarwilsonscholarship.com. And I want to emphasize, we are a self-funded program. So this is not about donations. We don't ask for donations. What we do ask is for support. And if you are aware of any young Nigerian students who you think might benefit from this program, we hold a call for applications every year. And if you follow the website or follow our social media pages, you'll be made aware of that. The other thing we would also appreciate, we fund the tuition, but we also have a leadership program and we have a mentorship program. If any of you out there are interested in becoming mentors for this program, please reach out to us directly as well. Moji, do you have any last words?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for you, Margaret, for having the courage to step into a niche that you hardly find us Nigerians in. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Moji. You know, I am so glad that we're taking this journey together. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your passion. We'll see you next time. Thank you to everyone for listening in to the Solar Wilson Conversation, where we share our views through the lens of a Nigerian, lesbian, legally married couple. So signing off, I am Margaret Solar Wilson.
And I am Moji Solar Wilson.
And as usual, we leave you with our message. Be authentic. Your voice is unique, and your words are truth. Your story is powerful. Never, ever be afraid to share your unique perspective and story with the world. Your story will touch someone. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.